What's going on, fam? Appreciate you coming out. Appreciate you coming out. I got a little late start today, but you know what? I was feeling it, so I said, let me jump in and get in on these oaths. Get in on the oath. Before I go in, I'm gonna let a few people come in before I go in. Peace and love, fam. Peace and love. I got a little late night start tonight. Got a little energy, so I said, you know what? Let me do a little video, a live video. Let it be known what it is about these oaths. All right. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Peace and love to all. This title of this video is "Why do public officials take the oath?" All right. Why do they take the oath? Think for a second. Use your own cognizance and think. Why do they take the oath? Come on in, fam. Come on in, fam. This video is about that oath they take, the public officials. Why do they take the oath, people? Think about it. Just get it in your head for a minute before I go in, because I'm going in and I'm coming straight out of the books. All right. I'm coming straight out of the books. That way it can be no way to not get it. All right. Because I'm coming straight from the books, straight from the law library itself. All right. I'm going to be using, of course, the American Constitution. I'll be going into corpus juris secundum. All right. Straight out of a law library, because, everybody believe anything that comes out of that, right? The law library, or, any type of authoritative place of that nature. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. I see I got 9 people, and I'm gonna go ahead and start, because it's about to go down. It's about to go down. All right, people, again, the title is "Why do public officials take the oath?" All right. Now, first you got to think, what is an oath? All right. What is an oath? I'm going to go quickly into the definition of an oath briefly, and then we're going to jump into corpus juris secundum, and we'll break all of this madness down. Why they get in office and do this, and the minute they get in office, they do something else. All right. We'll go into the definition of oath first. All right. I love this book right here. It's an older dictionary, and it actually deals a lot with law too. So when I don't have my Black's Law, or I want to look into something else, I look into this, because this has a lot of law definitions, and I compared it to the Black's Law and Boubier's. It's not that much of a difference. All right. Going into the definition of oath first. Hope y'all doing well out there. I'm coming straight out the books, people, straight out of the books. That way it won't be any. All right. Oath. All right. A solemn appeal to God or to some revered person or thing, an attestation of the truth of a statement or the binding character of a promise, to testify upon oath, a statement or promise strengthened by such an appeal. Okay. So basically it's saying that it's a promise. All right. Now, I'm gonna see if I can screen share right quick. I want to show y'all something. All right. If y'all can see this picture right here, it's a picture of Donald Trump. Hopefully y'all can see it. If not, it's a picture of Donald Trump holding up his right hand, and he has his left hand, I'm pretty sure it's on the Bible, and he's taking an oath, right? Now, once we go to this next picture, you see ex-President Obama. He's doing the exact same thing, all right? His wife is by his side. He has his left hand on the Bible or Holy Book, and he has his right hand up. And we just went into the definition of oath. An oath is a promise. All right, so the presidential oath of office states, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Now, notice it says to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. All right, this is just a briefing. All right, again, Obama has his right hand up. All right. Now, this is what it is. I'm going to go into the corpus juris secundum. All right. Now, read that carefully. Look at this. It says corpus at the top. Corpus is Latin for body. Juris is right of law. And secundum is Latin for according to. All right. And this book is going to go into the oaths and affirmations of officials and public employees. All right. You see that, right? This is a law book. Corpus juris secundum is sort of like the encyclopedia of, how can I say it? I guess the positive state of all laws. Okay. So that's why I'm going into corpus juris secundum. Now, once I open it up, this is what you see. It came out of a law library. Okay. So this is some of the stuff that people really don't know. They don't read. All right. And I appreciate y'all coming out, tuning in. I know it's late, but it doesn't matter. When it replays, you can see it then. All right. I'm about to go into basically why they take oaths, what the oaths are for, and so on. All right. Y'all listen real carefully. Generally, an oath is an appeal by a person to God to witness the truth of what he or she declares, and an imprecation of divine punishment or vengeance on him or her if what he or she says is false. Now think about it. They always go in and say, I solemnly swear, blah, 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 blah. But then they get in office and they turn around and do the complete opposite. All right. However, a proper oath does not necessarily have to make reference to or include words of invocation to God. In its broadest sense, an oath includes any form of attestation by which a party signifies that he or she is bound and conscious to perform an act faithfully and truthfully, but it does not include those forms of attestation which are accompanied by an imprecation. All right. The purpose of the oath requirement is to impress upon the affiant of those occasions and the need to tell the truth. Thus, the oath's main purpose is to ensure that the affiant consciously recognizes his or her legal obligation to tell the truth. All right, to tell the truth. Another function of an oath is to bind the conscience of the speaker at the time when what he or she says will deeply affect the rights of an individual. A further function of an oath is to provide a basis for a perjury action upon proof of falsification. All right, now I'm going to go into different types of oaths. Now remember, this is serious. This is serious because there are so many public officials that take the oath and they go straight against it. But the only reason they do this is because we don't understand the supreme law. And we don't understand that they're bound to it. all right, as a whole. This is why they ultimately do it. All right, the types of oaths. There are several types of oaths given for a variety of purposes. A corporal oath is an oath made solemn by touching a sacred object, such as the Bible. An extrajudicial oath is an oath that, although formally sworn, is taken outside a legal proceeding or outside the authority of the law. A judicial oath is one taken in the course of a judicial proceeding, especially in open court. It is taken as a sanction for the truth of an affirmation or declaration in legal or quasi-legal matters, like the oath of a witness or an affiant. A promissory oath is one in which the affiant swears that he or she will perform some duty to be performed subsequent to taking the oath. A promissory oath binds the party to observe a certain course of conduct or to fulfill certain duties in the future or to demean oneself thereafter in a stated manner with reference to specified objects or obligations. Okay, now let's go to Article 6, and we're going to come back to corpus juris secundum. All right, we're going to go to Article 6 and see what Article 6 says. All right, now check this out, y'all. Right here, where it says Article 6, particularly right here, it speaks about the oath, right? Now, look at the book that I'm coming out of, all right? I'm coming out of their own book, United States Constitution, the Tennessee Constitution, all right? This is West Tennessee's Code Annotated, all right? This is what I'm coming out of. I'm not coming out of any, little pamphlets today that came off the internet or anything. This is coming straight out of their law books, all right? Straight out of their books, all right? Again, see that? That's what we're about to read. Article 6, it says, all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. All right, before I read the next section, now remember it says that it's the supreme law of the land. I have it highlighted right here. All right, supreme law of the land. Now, if this is the supreme law of the land, right, if this is the supreme law of the land, what is the other stuff? Think about it. What is the other stuff? What is the other stuff? All right, it's colored up, right? It's quasi, right? All right, now we continue reading. The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislatures and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. Let me repeat that and I'll show you where I have it highlighted. Shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. All right, see what my finger is? Read that. All right, they shall be bound by oath, right? Now, I'm coming out of this. All right, it's no trickery. It's in the books. All right, we got to study. Now I'm going to come back to the American Constitution. We're going to go back to the corpus juris secundum. All right, so we can know specifically what their performances should be. All right. All right, again, corpus juris secundum, performance of duties. Public officers and employees owe a duty of loyalty to the public. All right. Indeed, a public office or employment is a public trust, which imposes on the officer or employee the performance of certain duties for the common good. In discharging the duties, which are fiduciary in character, a public officer or employee is under an obligation to serve the public with highest fidelity and undivided loyalty. All right, let me show you. I got to show you. Remember, it's coming out of the corpus juris secundum, and it's right here. It says, a public officer or employee is under an obligation to serve the public with highest fidelity and undivided loyalty. Where my finger is, see that? This is coming out of corpus juris secundum, all right? He or she is required to display such intelligence and skill as he or she is capable of, to be diligent and conscientious, and to exercise his or her discretion not arbitrarily but reasonably. A discretionary duty must be exercised with reason as opposed to caprice or arbitrary action, since the term discretion imports the exercise of judgment, wisdom, and skill as distinguished from unthinking folly, petty violence, and rash injustice. Above all, a public officer or employee must display good faith, honesty, and integrity. Let me repeat that. Above all, a public officer or employee must display good faith, honesty, and integrity. Now, do we see good faith, honesty, and integrity in any of these public offices? No, we don't. All right. We don't see this. We don't see it because, again, people do not understand what they are obligated to. All right. So they're acting like spoiled children in office. All right. They have to get their way. They got to get their way. They got to do underhanded, evil, dirty, low down, manipulative things to get by on the people. All right. All these qualities in the discharge of their duties are required of public officers, particularly where the rights of the public may be jeopardized by their neglect. Their obligation to the public is not discharged by a mere perfunctory performance of those duties. When an officer's conduct is not marked by these qualities, there is mismanagement. All right. However, the good faith of a public official is not likely to be denied, and proof of prejudice and bias sufficient to overcome the sense of responsibility to office and to community must be heavy. The failure of public officials to perform their ministerial duties will not be permitted to circumvent and defeat the clear intent of the Constitution. All right. This may be over some people's head, but they cannot get these jobs, people, unless they take the oath. All right. They cannot get the job. They cannot get the position. They cannot get elected unless they take the oath. All right. So what I'm doing tonight, is I'm breaking down why they take the oath and how they're supposed to perform while in office. All right. The people should know this. This is why they act a complete fool, because people do not know this. All right. However, public officers are not required to perform ministerial acts that will effectuate unlawful acts or purposes on the part of other officers who may be clothed with broader powers of administration or discretion. But a public officer may not refuse to perform a duty enjoined by law on the mere suspicion that his or her act may enable some other official to breach his or her duty. In the absence of a legal duty that an officer is required to perform, or a right to have such duty performed, an officer cannot be compelled to act. So a public official cannot be compelled to undertake a proceeding which would be futile unless unavailing. All right. All right, I got something else for y'all. All right. It's out of control now. All right. They're out of control. And you may ask yourself, like, what can we do as people? As the people, what can we do? All right, the first thing you can do is open up your mind. All right, come to the realization that this is real. All right, come to the realization that this is real. These are the rules. All right, they didn't teach this in school. Okay, how I got this is, I was doing my search and I found this. Okay, I found it. All right. Public officials should always observe and obey all orders of courts. Now, that goes back to stare decisis. All right. How when you have older case law, especially as Moors, we present older case law all the time to these magistrates and so on, right? And in corpus juris secundum, it states right here, public officials should always observe and obey all orders of courts. Okay, it says this. I can show you. It's highlighted right here. It's highlighted. Okay. All right. Officials have an implied legal duty to undo any actions they have taken in violation of a statute or ordinance. An erroneous application of law does not relieve a public official from the obligation to apply and enforce the law correctly thereafter. However, no public officer should be subjected to a suit or litigation without first being given opportunity on demand to perform the act which is claimed he or she is required under law to do. Now, let me break that down. I'm going to read it one more time and then I'm going to break it down. However, no public officer should be subjected to a suit or litigation without first being given opportunity on demand to perform the act which is to be claimed he or she is required under law. This is why we do discoveries, okay? This is why I discover, even in their jurisdictions with the state, the municipal governments, they do discoveries, all right? What a discovery is, it's basically when someone is claiming that you're obligated to something, you're asking them for certain information to prove the obligation, okay? Which is called a discovery, all right? This is why we do discovery. And what makes the affidavit powerful is placing the demand on them, all right? So you're giving them a chance. You're staying in honor by giving them a chance, all right? Like, for example, if they screw up, you're giving them a chance. Hey, put in your discovery. You place a demand on them, all right? And they may respect it and leave you alone. They may drop everything. They may not. If they don't, this is how you know that they're not being in honor, all right? So this is why we try to stay in honor by at least giving them a chance, all right? Now, as long as I've been doing it, I don't even give them chances anymore, because I know they're fraud, like straight up. I don't even give them, I used to give them chance after chance. I used to give them 30, 60 days. I don't do that anymore. All right. I haven't had to really battle. It's been a while since I've had to battle, but I don't do that anymore. They lucky to get 3 days out of me now. And that's straight up. All right. Back to corpus juris secundum. All right. Practice of law. Listen to this carefully. A constitutional provision that a judge of a court of record may not practice law and during the term for which he or she was selected is ineligible for public employment or judicial office is neither impermissible, vague, nor fatally overbroad. Apart from statute, a lawyer engaged in the general practice of law who at the same time holds a public office requiring a condition of such tenure that he or she take an oath to enforce the laws of the state does not violate this oath by engaging in the defense of one charged with the commission of a crime if there is no conflict between the public office and the practice of the law. All right. Keep your third eye open. Keep your third eye open. All right. Public confidence in the performance of government officials is of paramount importance. A public office is a public trust, and the holder, therefore, thereof may not use it directly or indirectly for a personal profit or to further his or her own interests, since it is the policy of the law to keep an official so far from temptation as to ensure his or her unselfish devotion to the public interest. All right. So basically what corpus juris secundum regarding oaths and how they're supposed to perform is letting you know exactly what it is they should do and how they should do it. This is like the rule book. They don't give you the rule book in school. This is the rule book, and we've never known the rules. All right. So this is how they can, just enforce anything they want because people don't know. It's really that simple. There's nothing hard. It's really that simple. All right, listen to this. Listen to this, people. Listen to this. This is where it gets thick. This is where it gets thick. All right. These people are tricky. They're tricky. It says a person sued. Now remember what a person is. All right. A person sued in his or her official capacity has no stake as an individual in the outcome of the litigation. Claims against government employees in their individual capacities are separate and distinct from claims against them in their official capacity. I hope that didn't go over your head. All right. This is why when you sue them, all right, when you're competent enough to sue them, this is why you sue them in their private and official capacity. All right. This is why you do this. Now, generally, public officers and employees are immune from civil liability for torts committed while acting in their official duties. But immunity cannot be invoked when they are sued for their own torts. I'm going to read that one more time, and then I'm going to get into the book that I've written about public official bonds. All right. These people got duties now. They got duties. Look how thick this book is. Look how thick this book is. Generally, public officers and employees are immune from civil liability for torts committed while acting in their official duties. But immunity cannot be invoked when they are sued for their own torts. All right, I'm going to break that down. I'm about to show you how this works. All right. Example. All right, when I fought the child support issue many years ago, all right, it was a fight, but I eventually got rid of it all. It was the head clerk at the child support agency. In her official capacity, she went by one name, right? And when I did a deep search on within public records, on the deed of records, I found out that her surety bond information was in another name. All right, this was her real true name. All right. This is why a lot of times when you sue them in their official capacity, there's really no weight in it. But when you hit them in their private, that's where you get them. You get them in the pocketbooks. All right, I'm gonna give you an example. All right. Now, if anyone out there has my book, if they have my book, they'll know. All you got to do is go to page 9 and 10 and you'll see it, but I'll read you a little bit. All right. She goes by, well, her real name is Epithea. That's her real name, and this is on her bond information, Epithea. All right. But on TV, when she got elected and all this other crap, she went by Joy. All right, you see the trickery. All right, you see the trick. You see the trickery. All right, you see how they do it. All right, that's a part of trust. You see how they do it. They're not going to be liable in their official capacity. All right. All right. Let me go into Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Message to America. All right. Because I keep telling people now let me say this before I go into Message to America. All right. Do not enforce if you're not ready. All right. What does ready mean? Let me explain what ready means. All right. Ready means that you know enough to enforce without really asking any questions. All right. Ready means that you have finance available in case you're kidnapped. Ready means you have a support system on the outside in case you get kidnapped. All right. Ready means you have a backup plan for a plan in case something fails. All right. That's what ready means. All right. Also, ready means sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice? All right. With me, I was willing to sacrifice everything. It didn't matter at that time. You know, at that time I was working. It didn't matter. I didn't care about losing a job. I didn't care about going to jail for several weeks, months. It didn't matter at the time because I had a point to prove not only to myself, but to them. All right. Because I was violated. All right. So think about it before you go out trying to enforce anything. Again, this is my story, and this is some of the things I've done in the past. So if you're not ready to sacrifice, sit down somewhere. All right, just sit down, chill out, study up, be patient, discipline yourself, get your support system, put some loot up. You know, finance, have that available, have a backup plan. All right. All right, we're about to go to Message to America briefly. All right. Now, this was Prophet Noble Drew Ali just basically giving you a synopsis of the Moorish Temple of Science, okay? In connection with the aims, objects, rules, and regulations of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I deem it proper to submit to you a brief statement of our organization, covering its inception, rise, and progress, and of the Mohammedan religion, which I hope will be satisfactory to you and be the means of causing you at all times to adhere to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in your relations with mankind in general. I further most anxiously hope this brief statement will help you to more clearly see the duty and wisdom of all times upholding those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization, for our posterity, such as obedience to law, respect and loyalty to government, tolerance, and unity. We organized as the Moorish Temple of Science in the year of 1925, and were legally incorporated as a civic organization under the laws of state of Illinois on November 29, 1926. All right, anytime you hear the word civic, you're dealing with the science of government, basically, citizenship, pertaining to citizenship, and so on. Okay. Noble Drew Ali spoke about enforcing the Constitution many times. You know, I mean, it can't be stressed enough. You know, I really shouldn't have to continuously go to it, but I'm gonna go to the third paragraph of Divine Warning, and I'm gonna briefly read what he stated about the Constitution. All right. I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. It's just that simple. You know, it's nothing. Look, it's nothing to argue about. It's nothing to debate. This is what it is. Now, I understand what a lot of these brothers are doing when they say, Noble Drew Ali, you know, he's not talking, that's not Noble, you know, that's not what Noble Drew Ali was talking about. I understand exactly what they're doing. They're doing what you call damage control. All right. A brother of mine brought that to my attention. I thought about it and I said, you know what? That's what it is. They're doing damage control. A lot of these brothers know exactly what Noble Ali stated for the record, but it's so many people that are not adapt to it, and they're just going out here and doing anything, and they're getting locked up. All right. So I can kind of understand that. I can kind of understand that. But just to deliberately lie on the prophet, that's a whole nother story. All right. That's a whole nother story. All right. So in order to enforce the Constitution, you have to be in your proper person anyway. All right. You have to be in propria persona, juris, by one's own right. And you really have to have a good understanding of what it is. It comes from the great law of peace. You have to really get it before you start enforcing anything. That's why I tell people, just relax. Stop rushing all the time. Stop rushing. Stop doing that. It's nothing to rush. You didn't get in this situation overnight. It took many, many years, so now you just got to study, and just stay out of trouble, just stay out of trouble. All right. I'm going to go into a couple of definitions. All right. I'm going to go into a couple of definitions out of the Black Law. Now, again, I'm coming from law book, coming from it. I got to show y'all because look how thick that is. And they tell us to stay away from this. People sit up here really like they really say this, that we shouldn't do this. That don't sit right with me. That don't sit right with me. All right. Now, I'm going to give you the law definition of oath. All right. It's pretty much the same out of this dictionary, but I'm coming out of the Black Law now. All right. Oath. Any form of attestation by which a person signifies that he is bound in conscience to perform an act faithfully and truthfully. Now, remember, people, when they put their hand up, now remember, it's a lot of people that say things like this. The Constitution been suspended. All right. They say things like, it's been suspended and it doesn't apply. Well, my question to them is this. If it's been suspended and it doesn't apply, why do they all do this? That's my question. And when you get to that comment section, I'd love to hear your response. If it's suspended and it does not apply, why do they all do this? All right. Why do they do this? Now, a brief scenario. Let's say it does not apply and it really has been suspended and they're still doing this. Now, remember what we said an oath is. It's a promise, all right, to faithfully do something. So that's fraud. That's treason, right? So damn if you do, damn if you don't. Let's look up fraud and let's look up treason. We're going to look up, I'm looking up fraud first. We'll look up fraud first. Okay, we're going to look up fraud. I'm at the definition. But remember, if it's actually been suspended and it doesn't apply, why do they do this? And if they're doing this, there is some fraud somewhere. Let's read the definition of fraud. Fraud, an intentional perversion of truth for the purpose of inducing another in reliance upon it to part with some valuable thing belonging to him or to surrender a legal right. A false representation of a matter of fact, whether by words or by conduct, by false or misleading allegations, or by concealment of that which should have been disclosed. All right. So again, if it doesn't apply and they're taking an oath, all right, there's some type of fraud or treason going on. So we're about to look up treason, the definition for treason. All right, treason. Black's Law Dictionary again. The offense of attempting by overt acts to overthrow the government of the state to which the offender owes allegiance, of or betraying the state into the hands of a foreign power. All right. Treason consists of two elements: adherence to the enemy and rendering him aid and comfort. Okay. So we have many treasonous public officers that are in office. All right. But in order for them to get out of office, we must know the rules to the game. All right. We're coming to the basketball court not knowing what a double dribble is, not knowing what a foul is, not knowing what traveling is. We're coming to the football field not knowing what holding is, not knowing what face mask is. All right. That's what we're doing. All right. So we got to tighten up. We got to tighten up. We got to tighten up for real. Now, I'm going to go back to corpus juris secundum. I'm going to go back to corpus juris secundum. Hold a second, y'all. I got to find my spot. I appreciate y'all tuning in too. You know, I know it's late, but I sure appreciate it. It's 12:06 Central Time, my way. So I know if y'all on the East Coast, y'all hour ahead. West Coast, 2 hours under. So I appreciate you. Common law, open some declaration. All right. Acknowledgement by authorized person. The oath taker must acknowledge that the oath was taken. All right. Generally, an oath must be made in the presence of an officer authorized to administer oaths. All right. So now you got to think about it. Think about this, people. You got all of these policy enforcers or police or cops rolling around. They have code of ethics as well. And there are a lot of quote unquote public officials that don't take oath. All right. Now, people assume that police are officials, but they're not. All right. Now that goes back to what I'm reading now, because they haven't been elected by proper authority. All right, so corpus juris secundum is explaining this. It says, generally, an oath must be made in the presence of an officer authorized to administer oaths. The officer administering the oath is under no obligation to know the declaration or to know for a certainty that the taker of the oath is the person he or she represents himself or herself to be. Further, an oath may be administered without an affirmative act by an oath taker. However, the oath taker must acknowledge that the oath was taken. The administering officer is required to know and state that the person who took the oath did declare himself or herself to be the person mentioned in the oath, and that he or she manifested an intention to be bound by it. Okay, question. Since police, what people call police officers, all right, that was added somewhere. Since people call them police officers and they really don't have the authority to exist, again, they're private security guards for the city. All right. Why is it that they have so much power? Again, it goes back to people not knowing who is who. That's why I tell people to study and know the local quote unquote government, study and understand the quote unquote state government and federal government, and so on. All right, piece by piece, starting off with the local, because these are the people you'll be dealing with on a daily basis, the local. All right, you got to know it. You got to know it. That's if you don't want to be molested. Now, if you don't mind being molested, that's different. But if you don't want to be molested, you gotta have a strategic plan, and you have to understand the rules of the game. They get it. They understand. They understand all of this. They understand the maxims. Most of us have no idea what maxims are. They understand the maxims. All right. We don't. We don't know any of this stuff. All right. So I'm talking to those that are ready to be studied. All right. To be studied up. Now, I'm going to go into common law. All right. Well, I'm going to go into this Latin word, well, Latin term, so to speak, and I'm going to translate it. The Latin term is lex est sanctio sancta hubens honesta et prohibens contraria. Basically, it's translated to law is a sacred sanction commanding what is right and prohibiting the contrary. All right. Prohibiting the contrary. It looks like it's about to storm on me out here. I didn't mean to cut that off, but I see some lightning strikes in the background. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but hopefully it don't knock my power out or anything. It's been real hot down this way, like 110 degrees with the heat index or whatever. So I guess we need a little rain, but if the power goes out or anything like that, you know why, because the lightning hit. Let me go back. All right, common law. Common law is distinguished from Roman law, distinguished from the modern civil law, and distinguished from the canon law. And from other systems of law, the common law is that body of law and juristic theory which was originated, developed, and formulated, and is administrated in England. See the Renaissance initiated in Spain and Italy and its influence upon Europe during the 14th to the 16th centuries. Common law is distinguished from the law created by the enactments of legislatures. The common law comprises the body of those principles and rules of actions relating to the government and the security of persons and property, which derive their authority solely from usages and customs of immemorial antiquity or from the judgments and decrees of the courts, recognizing the affirming and enforcing such usages and customs, and in this sense, particularly the ancient unwritten law of England. Common law is distinguished from equity law, as it is a body of rules and principles, written or unwritten, which are fixed and immutable authority and which must be applied to controversies rigorously and in their entirety, and cannot be modified to suit the peculiarities of a specific case or colored by any judicial discretion, and which rests confessedly upon custom or statute as distinguished from any claim to ethical superiority. All right. Now, common law, let me go into its wider sense. All right, I'm going to its broader sense. Hold tight, hold tight. I appreciate y'all staying in with me. Much love to y'all. Okay. All right. In a wider sense, this is common law. In a wider sense than any of the foregoing, the common law may designate all that part of the positive law, juristic theory, and ancient custom of any state or nation, which is of general and universal application, thus marking off special or local rules or customs. All right. So anytime you read these definitions, make sure you go all the way in on the definition and compare. All right, compare it, especially when you get down to the etymon. All right. Now remember, they have oaths. They have oaths. They all have oaths. So what are you going to do about it? If they got oaths, what are you going to do about it? Now, I spoke with a brother today he had a little issue or whatever. And sometimes people get confused with, like, when you remove cases or whatever, they get confused. All right. They get confused as to where to remove it to. All right. Now, by us being Moors, of course, we normally do it, keep it in a federal sense. But I want to read something to you. Article 3, Section 2. Now, remember, the American Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So if it's the supreme law of the land, Article 3, Section 2 describes exactly the original jurisdiction. Listen carefully. It says, the judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution. The laws of the United States and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States should be a party, to controversies between two or more states, between the state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grant of different states, and between a state or citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens or subjects. Now, this is where it gets very detailed. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and those in which a state shall be a party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, with such exceptions and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. All right. All right. Think about this. Now, when you say Supreme Court, all right, within your territory, you can go to the Supreme Court. But which court is the Supreme Court? That's the question, because you have, what I've come to find out in different territories, some of the courts are called Superior this, Supreme this, but that doesn't make it the Supreme Court of that territory. All right, I'm about to give out some jewels. This is how you know that it's the Supreme Court. Go to their website, go directly to their website and pull up the pictures of the judges, all right, on the website. The appellate court is the Supreme Court. All right. The appellate court is the Supreme Court. And also make sure, if you're going to go that route, go to where the 12 justices are, not the 5. All right. That's how they fool people. All right. Again, when you pull up the website, a lot of times they have a picture of 5 justices smiling with their robes on and saying that's the Supreme Court. That is not the Supreme Court. All right. They have to have the 12 justices. All right. And the Supreme Court is the appellate court, like I just read. All right. So it shouldn't be any confusion. It's right there. It's right there in your face if you study. All right. Remember, the oaths, they take them, is serious. All right, because that's a promise on their behalf that they're going to perform a certain way while they're in office. And you can always counter them. You see the lightning is going down out here. You can always go in on them. You know, you just have to understand how to. All right. Stop arguing with these police on the side of the road, people. Stop it. Stop arguing with these police on the side of the road, okay? You're wasting your time. Stop. I get it. I understand. I did it. Don't do it anymore. Do not argue with them. You know, whatever questions that you got to remember, it's a game. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's a power trip. All right. Give them the illusion that they have the power on the side of the road, because at the end of the day, it's between you and that prosecutor or that so-called judge. It's not between you and that cop on the road. That cop is demanding power. All right. Okay, give him the illusion. Give her the illusion that they have the power. And that's not being a punk. That's just being smart. All right, that's being smart. If they ask for this, they ask for that, tell them, hey, if you don't have it, well, I don't have it. If they ask you something else, ask them, am I being detained? If they say no, oh, can I leave? It's simple. Keep it simple. Stop arguing with them. Stop using the profanity towards them. Don't do any of that. Again, it's not between you and them. You know, they're a middleman. They're a third party. All right. They're bullies. All right. It's up here. So use this. All right. And know how to enforce when you're ready. Do not just enforce. I have a lot of people that rush all the time and they try to rush me, but I don't rush. I've never been the type of person that rush. People that rush, to me, it shows me that they're out of order. They're not organized. All right. People that rush and people that are impatient are not organized and they don't have a plan. That's why they're rushing. You know, when you're organized and when you're well planned, you do things smoothly. All right. It just goes smooth because it's planned out. It's just that simple. All right. It's just that simple. What else can I tell y'all before I get out of here? Just, you know, stay positive, stay positive. It's not a real big deal. I just like to bring these type of videos to bring you to awareness of certain things. Now, y'all saw for yourself. I brought the corpus juris secundum. All right. I brought corpus juris secundum straight to you, right? All right. And then I brought this right here. United States Constitution, Tennessee Constitution, right? All right. Brought that to you. Also, I brought, of course, this baby right here. All right. Black's Law, right? So I'm not really coming with opinion. I'm coming, and remember this as well. All of this is rooted in positive law. All of it is rooted in positive law, not negative. So we're doing the right thing by coming with the positive. All right. Also, of course, Drew Ali, Message to America, Divine Warning, Plea to a Nation, so on. All right. So what else I got? Oh yeah, one more thing. I got one more thing. Most definitely, I want to read this. CM Bey. All right. I'm going to go into Article 6 of the Zodiac Constitution. All right. This is for, especially when I get to the end. When I get to the end of Article 6, mainly Article 6 is for those that are not really trying to hear all of this. They just want to get out of something. This is for you. All right. Especially the ending of this particular article. This article is entitled "The One and Only Universal Moral Law for Unity, Peace, and Economic and Social Progress." It states, the Moorish Zodiac Constitution is the only universal, unchanged moral law for the human family for unity, human equality, respect, peace, and economic and social progress. Therefore, every Moor, the Beys and Els, must be guided by this Constitution and book, Clock of Destiny. Do that which is right by reason and have respect for the white lawmakers and citizens of the Magna Carta Union Society of the 50 states in order to demand respect from them. This is why I said what I said previously about don't argue with them. It's nothing to argue about, especially if you're not doing anything to harm someone. All right. 9 times out of 10, these cops, these sheriffs, they know nothing about true law. So for a second, you have to put yourself in their shoes to see where they're coming from. All right. Just for a second, even though we know what they're doing is corrupt and it's colored. But for a second, just put yourself in their shoes. That's why I say don't argue with them. It's nothing to argue about. It actually is nothing to argue about with none of these clowns online either about what's right and what's wrong. All right. I'm sharing this information for those that want to be enlightened, period. The white peoples, quote unquote, of the Union are guided by the Magna Carta traditions and customs, and the Moors are guided by the Zodiac Constitution law. Nevertheless, their customs and traditions, including themselves, must be respected by the Moors without submitting themselves to any of the Magna Carta customs. All right. C.M. Bey was a genius. That which is termed the Christian law is a rule of action recorded on paper and supported by authority and force. The zodiac law of nature is recorded in the wisdom of women and men and supported by moral intelligence, the greatest law. Knowledge of zodiac masonry, as shown in this Moorish constitution and also in my book, Clock of Destiny, Volume 1 and 2, will prevent a Moorish American, he or she, from indulging in crime. All right. They then would not have to appear in the courtroom to stand trial. Should a Moorish American who has this constitution and book 1 and 2 indulge in crimes such as narcotics, robbery, forgery? This is where I'm talking about these. Yeah, y'all better listen to this, but I'm sick of y'all ass. All these dudes that getting these dope charges, all these dudes that's out here that's really not. Well, I haven't really had any issues with guys with the child support. You know, they pretty genuine, but these dudes with these dope charges and all this foul shit, you gotta quit. All right, this is for you. CM Bey is speaking to you right now. It says, should a Moorish American who has this constitution in book 1 and 2 indulge in a crime such as narcotics, robbery, forgery, prostitution, illegal whiskey, alcohol, illegal schemes, gambling, peace breaking, violence, and disrespect for the law of the city, country, state, and federal, they then have incriminated themselves and therefore will be penalized. This constitution card and book definitely does not protect criminals. Beware. These are the words from the Honorable C.M. Bey. All right. So if you're indulging into criminal acts, you're on your own. All right, you're on your own. And I talk to a lot of brothers. I mean, I haven't talked to just that many brothers that, you know, straight up thugs, but I have spoken with a few, you know, and they were pretty honest about what happened or what, you know, this, that, is that. And a lot of them, I told them straight up, I said, look, you just got to charge this to the game, learn from it, move on, start over, and try to do it again with a righteous heart. All right, do that. All right, do that. And they can't do nothing. They don't do nothing but respect me because I've been there, done that, you know. So if you have intentions of a criminal, walk away. Just walk away, man. Nobody got time for that. You know, this is real. You know, the Romans been kicking our ass for quite some time now. And I mean, what else are we to do? All right. I saw a video the other day where Willie D from the Ghetto Boys, he said something that really made sense. But at the same time, I looked at it from a spiritual aspect as well. Willie D was asked, what should we do to keep the brothers from constantly being gunned down in the street that's unarmed by cops? And Willie D's response was to bust back, which actually makes sense. But there's a but. There's a but. There's a but. The but is, when you look at it from a spiritual aspect, we're spiritual beings, all right? And right now they're winning in this physical world, all right? They're winning in this lower vibrational frequency of a world, all right? So again, like CM Bay stated, it's gonna take a massive, because I'm to the point now where like I'm fed up with the activities of quote unquote black people. I'm fed up. They take no responsibility or accountability for nothing they do as a whole. Not all of them, just as a whole. I'm fed up with them. I'm fed up with the ass shaking from the sisters. I'm fed up with the weave in their heads. I'm fed up with the thugs. All right. The dope boys, the robbers, the thieves, the rappers, the wannabe hard gangsters. I'm fed up with them. I'm fed up with the senseless killings of our own people. So when I say what Willie D said made sense, it actually does make sense. You know, somewhere it does make sense. But at the end of the day, we want to try to stay on the 5 principles. All right. That's love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. All right. Y'all stay tuned. I got plenty of stuff coming. You know, I got plenty of stuff coming. When you get a chance, you know, for those that are competent and are ready, go get my book if you haven't already gotten it. Public Official Bonds. But that's for people that's, you know, that want to go to that next level, that have already, you know, removed things and went to the international community, whatever. That's for those people. It's really not. I mean, anybody can read it, but if you're ready to enforce, it's not really for beginners to enforce. All right. It's for someone that's ready to go to that next level of on the financial end of things. All right. So remember, they have oaths. Enforce the American Constitution, people. That's what it is. Enforce it. It's there to be enforced. Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke about it numerous times. All right. I'm about to get out of here, man. It's storming real bad. I appreciate y'all coming out. You know, hope all is well. Hope all stay well. And I might do another live tomorrow. You know, I've been having a little fun with them, you know, on the late night tip. So ain't no telling with me. I may or may not. Just stay tuned. Keep your hit that notification button. You know, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And I got y'all. I'm gonna keep it tight. All right, peace and love.